Okay, here we go. Here we go. Happy Tuesday night, you guys. So you not guys, you women. This is a group of women. Hey, I'm gonna well, welcome. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna share something I just learned. Now this is fascinating, and I don't know if it's happens. Well, it doesn't happen in a setting like this, but when women get together physically, their progesterone increases. Is that not the coolest thing? So we are meant to hang out, not just on Zoom, because I doubt that happens on Zoom, although some of our experts might be able to answer. But it is so important to hang out with other women in community and to be together and to engage. And this is really important, but in real life is really, really important too. So super glad to see all your faces tonight. This is going to be really fun. We have a great panel and lined up for you. And we really just threw this together very impromptu over the past 24 hours. And I'm kind of thrilled because I've brought some questions of my own, and I hope you all have too. So definitely utilize the chat. Let's see here. Jerusha iced tea, ooh, plus lemon oil, yum. VMG, water, juice plus luminate, water, water, water. Love it. Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're just going to start, and I'm going to go around and ask our panel to just kind of give a quick introduction about who they are, what they do, that kind of thing. So, Sherrie, do you want to start off? Do you want to start? Let me see here. I'm asking you to unmute. Yeah.
Sorry. I am the resident natural health nerd. So reformed RN, just like to keep learning. Functional practitioner, labs, hormones, gut health, detox, getting into functional DNA. So that's about it.
So get ready for some really cool classes because Sherrie is going through a functional DNA program right now. So that's going to be really, really interesting. Salina Cook, what about you? You want to introduce yourself? It's funny because Salina, I don't know if you noticed, but I put down jock because you are a jock. Let me stop the screens here so we can see faces here. But yeah, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, I don't know how I can be a jock. That's funny. I guess you get that from CrossFit. But I'm probably the least jockey of all of the ones that are there. So it's kind of funny that you say that. Um, I love fitness. I love nutrition. Got my certification in nutrition a year before last, and I think it goes hand in hand with using doTERRA long term and really just I've been using doTERRA since 2012. So it seems like my entire since my kids were really little and that's all they know and it's just a way of living. And so I think my first response to anything I've learned to do is research. And I've just if I don't know something, we have an abundant amount of research we can look into. And so when I'm helping people, that's what I do. I want to learn more. I love learning, and I think that's what just keeps us going because there's so much to learn.
Agree, totally. Love it. Any other researchers? Yep, researchers. Um, I am trying to figure out a way to spotlight the person who is speaking. So, you know what? Sandra, we're going to let you go next. Tell us a little bit about, just a little bit about you. And I'm so glad you're here. Oops, let's try this again. Oh, here we go, Dr. Sandy and let's see here. Oh, there we go. Let's do it. I'm going to ask you to unmute and you should be good to go.
Hey there. Were you calling on me because I switched between gears and I thought just as I turn off my phone, you're going to ask me.
No, first of all, your background looks fabulous. I love it.
Oh,
But just go ahead and just tell us a little bit about you, like what you do,
oh,
your thing, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a medically trained PA, and then I went back and did anesthesia school because that wasn't enough. So I have 2 medical degrees, PA anesthetist, PA general practice. And then out of necessity, because my son got sick with Lyme disease, I ended up going back to natural medicine school. I got PhD in natural medicine. So PhD in natural medicine has Dr. Sandy. And the area of my focus is actually brain health. So this is my podcast studio. So I do a lot of YouTube and podcast education on everything brain health related, everything brain health related. Like I just did one on Botox and brain health. So like that's going to be a fun one to see what people react to. But yeah, so brain health is my specialty, and I'm writing a book, should be coming out probably, I think the first of the year, about getting over anesthesia in a natural way, because that's a very toxic event.
Share your
So,
title, because
Wow.
I thought your title was awesome. Share your title if you would.
oh, the title, yeah, the subtitle, I'm still working with the editors because I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. But this title is Getting Over Going Under.
A great
So,
title.
yeah.
Yeah. And what we'll do is, hey, what's the name of your podcast?
It's called the Rethink It podcast, the Brain Health and Longevity podcast.
Wow, I'm interested.
I know, Diane, it's going to be a good one. So what we're going to do is if you have questions, and we're going to let Kara. She's here. I'm so thrilled you're here. We thought you might. First of all, hello, because I've known you a long time and I haven't seen you in forever. So I'm super glad you showed up tonight. And we didn't know if you were going to make it or not because of, motherhood, baby stuff. But tell us a little bit about you. And so glad you're here. We'll ask you to unmute.
There you go. Sorry.
Awesome.
I am a birth and postpartum doula and childbirth educator, but my main focus is labor and birth and education more so than postpartum. So I go and I educate women. I walk along labor and birth with them. Elizabeth was in here a minute ago, and she was actually my first birth that I assisted in. So yeah, so it's all things birth and postpartum and all that. So yeah.
Love it. How long have you been doing that?
Postpartum since 2019 and birth since 2022.
Very, very cool. I think one of the neatest gifts you can give a pregnant woman is a doula.
Oh gosh, yeah, 100. So I just had my 91st birth, and I'm currently waiting on a call for another mama today. If she doesn't go in tonight, we have an induction tomorrow. So praying that spontaneous labor happens tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. And then I'm Stephanie Crane. I was a master's. I have a master's of social work degree. I did social work for years, did a 9-month internship at the VA hospital in the mental health unit, the PTSD unit of the VA. 9 months was enough to make me realize mental health was not my thing. I later on followed my passion. I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and got a holistic health certification, and then just recently got a certification under Dr. Ben Bickman, Insulin IQ. Both my parents are diabetic, so that's really a passion for me is preventing diabetes, because it is just crazy rampant these days. 50% of the population is either diabetic or pre-diabetic. And just like all y'all who are here, I just like to learn. So, okay, let's do this. So anybody want to jump in? Because I have a few questions already that people have asked previously, but if anybody wants to jump in with a question, you can either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. This is super, super casual. And another thing before we totally get started, at the end, we can go round robin, and people can, the panelists can share how you can connect with them, be it Instagram, Facebook, website, podcast, whatever. But I'll also send that information out in the email tomorrow. So don't feel like you have to scramble and get it. Or yeah, boom, there you go. Put it in the chat. So Dr. Sandy's got it going on, her YouTube channel, her website. And then if anybody else wants to put that in there, go right ahead. So, okay, first question. Bueller, anyone? And if not, I'm going to call on Jerusha. If that's okay.
I'll ask a question.
Okay, Let's hear
So
it.
is it about anything? Like any, diet related, whatever related?
Anything, we're gonna just kind of, if nobody can give any input, then we will walk away. But other than that, just go for it.
So, and I think Steph, you and I talked about this briefly because I think you said Kent does the ketogenic. So, and oh yeah, and I told you I was reading the book, The Healthy Keto Diet by Dr. Berg. So I've implemented a lot of the things that he recommended, and I've lost 9 pounds in a month. And
Wow.
yeah, and that's the first time in a while that weight has budged from me because I do have very limited abilities for exercising. I can only do swimming, and because I have lymphedema. But I can't be down there when it's too hot because I'm in Florida, and that, so it really has to be diet, which it is most of the time anyway, even with people who are healthy. I think, that weight is probably more what you're eating. Plus, it's the healthy, it's doing it for health, whether you're trying to lose weight or not. But with that said, oh, and I'm also doing OMAD, 1 meal a day, because I hate to cook. I just can't stand it. Like, and when I say cook, it could be something as simple as cooking chicken that takes like 5 minutes. I loathe it. So to have to do it twice a day, and then I've implemented intermittent fasting with it as well. So in addition to the weight loss, I feel freaking fabulous. Like it really just seems to have, and I think I'm losing inches. I wish I would have measured myself beforehand because like my underwear is dropping off and I'm like, sweet. So
Tell me the secret.
what's that?
Tell me the secret.
The secret, well,
Yeah.
the secret, Diane, is she's eating keto, she's watching her carbs,
Yeah.
not drinking Dr. Pepper, Diane.
Right. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I haven't had a Coke in a month. So, and I wasn't a huge drinker of it, but it was always like something I would do if I went out. That was like my permission time. But I have not done that at all. And I've been out to dinner 3 or 4 times. So with all that said, there's so many, like when I told my doctor I was going to do it, she's like, no, you can't do that. Keto's horrible for you, blah, blah, blah. And, you read a lot of things that say opposite. So just kind of wanted to, get everybody's thoughts. I know it's not something that I can, I keep right around 20 carbs a day. And I know that I'm going to bump that back up at some point in time. And I've cut my sugar like down to nothing. And I think that's been huge. My problem is that I can't figure out how to get my fats like considerably higher than my proteins, which is because it seems like they almost go hand in hand in a lot of cases, that some stuff has a lot of fat and a lot of protein in it. And if I understand it correctly, it's supposed to be fat at the highest, protein at the middle, and carbs at the low. So don't really know how to do that. So I just didn't know if anybody had any advice, suggestions, etc.
Hey, Salina, what about you're our nutritionist? What do you think? And
Yeah, I can jump in. First of all, congratulations. 9 pounds is a big deal. And it is very helpful and very healing to do ketogenic for a time. I've done it. I did it for like on and off for 7 years. And I did hit a wall. I'll tell you that. I have had a lot of experience with ketogenic diet. I think it's very healthy for your body to be able to physically go in and out of ketosis, meaning that your body is using fat for fuel versus carbohydrate. One thing I will say, the OMAD, 1 meal a day, prioritizing protein is so important. And I feel like the OMAD is okay for a time, a season, but I want you to think of it like a season. Because you're saying, yes, it's great because it's easy, it's wonderful. And you're right, because fasting is easy, it's free. And there's not a whole lot you have to do to prepare for that. But let me explain something. When you don't eat enough protein, your body loses muscle mass very fast.
Okay.
And after 30, we decline in muscle mass quickly if we're not strength training and consuming enough protein. Your body is actually consuming its own muscle for energy, and you're using the fat as well, but at the same, but I want you to think about how you want to be that last decade of your life, and longevity is my goal. And I think that is super important to make sure your body has enough protein to not lose the muscle mass.
Okay.
And so
That makes a lot of sense.
that is more important to me than anything when you're talking about I need to get more fat grams in. That's probably not necessarily true. A lot of people can be ketogenic and have a very balanced ratio with protein and fats and keeping carbs low. I want you to think about and start researching cyclical keto. And I love Dr. Berg too, by the way. I've listened to him for years. I think he's great. He has some great advice. But you do want to research a little bit more, maybe even look at Dr. Jockers. He talks about cyclical keto because, especially because of his wife and their way of eating, where they rotate complex carbohydrates in once or twice a week at even in the evening meal. Sometimes they're resistant starches, things that are like potatoes, sweet potatoes, and that kind of thing, not necessarily breads and that kind of thing. But they are it's an advantage to you to get out of it, to get out of keto and then get back into it the next day because of your hormones. And that's like we could do a whole class on that, but
yeah,
it's very important that could mess up. I mean,
that right there.
Yeah.
Well,
and mine are already jacked up.
Trying to be quiet.
Doing it. I messed up my hormones so I still deal with high cortisol, and even still, because I'm consuming carbs now, I still deal with high cortisol. So I don't know if it's also my age, but at the same time, I just want to advise you not to go long term. Think about cyclical. Think about yes, it's healing to the cells. Most of your weight. I'm thankful for your weight loss. A good bit of your weight is water weight.
Sure.
And you maybe have read about that too. So it's super important that you make sure you get electrolytes in.
I do. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, my hormones are already jacked up because I had breast cancer twice. And then my sleep schedule from going through multiple surgeries and anesthesia, like the doctor mentioned, has been jacked up. But that's the other thing I've done a lot better with this month. And I know that's essential for weight loss, having that good 8 to 9 hours of sleep. So, okay, I'll research Dr.
How old are you?
55, just turned 55.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to second everything she just said. I'm not a big fan, and I do brain health. I work with TBIs. So I do keto for a short period on a woman, and then I pull right back out of that just to bring healing to the brain, stability to the brain, especially in TBI. But and not longer than that, because the impact I've seen, especially in a perimenopausal 35 to 55, it just really distorts your hormone. You don't get enough protein to make the hormones. And you end up getting actually really off, like Salina was saying, high cortisol is really hard to bring back into balance. So, and then you're getting belly fat that doesn't go away. So, you don't want to set yourself up for that kind of failure. And she made a great point about the longevity piece on your muscle loss. Oh my goodness, you lose like 10% per decade.
Yeah, so, I can't do weights with my lymphedema. I mean, I can do it in the water, so that really does make it seem even more important that I need to do what I can to build muscle mass through protein. Okay. All right, cool.
Okay,
thanks, y'all.
I have a question. What kind of diet is it? How, if I'm getting a lot of protein, what kind of different foods can I get protein from?
So Diane, we're talking about a keto diet, which is going to be low carb. So you would cut out your sugars and watch your carbs. And higher protein, protein is primarily going to be your meats. Meats are just all, most, not all protein, there's fat too, but meats are going to be your protein. Eggs are a good source of protein.
Yeah, I knew about eggs.
Cottage cheese, good source of protein. Lentils, a good source of protein, but really you want to chew your food. So it's going to be a diet heavy in meat, and
Okay.
very low in sugar and carbs.
Because I'm trying watch my eating. I always eat when you are hungry. And I'm 56, had cerebral palsy, and I had seizure disorder at birth. So I'm trying to figure out what a good deal for me.
I would say one of the best things that anybody can do would be just start by getting off of sugar. Start by drinking a lot of water and getting off of sugar. So, just you can eat your fruit, you can eat your meat, your salads, but just choose water over that Dr. Pepper. And that's hard, but you can do it. You can do it. I know you can.
Yeah.
Okay,
My mom keeps barking at me every day.
well, sometimes you got to listen to your mom. Okay, I'm going to jump over here in the chat, and in the same topic, we're gonna talk about tendonitis. Somebody's got a question about that. But while we're on the same topic, Dawn asked, "What are your thoughts on Dr. Mindy Pell's Fast Like a Girl?"
So I met Mindy Pelz a couple of times. She speaks a lot of the conferences I go to. I'm just jumping in really quick on that. I like intermittent fasting periodically. I like that she takes your hormones into consideration because that's huge in perimenopause. I can't tell you how important it is. It's important even before, but because we trend toward high cortisol at the end of our cycle, if you stress your body during that time with a fast, you're going to actually make things worse and actually work against yourself. And that's the point of her story. Like in the whole book, if I can summarize it all, is work with your cycle. Know your cycle and work with it. That's her. That's her thesis. And I think it's great. I think it's a really useful tool. So yes, use it. That's my opinion.
That's still important, even if you don't have because I don't have a cycle anymore. I haven't for about 15 years now.
So that's a little different. Postmenopause
Okay.
is very, very different. Like
Okay.
completely different.
Yeah, I've been 6 years, and I don't miss them.
Amen, sister.
Let me jump over here, Kara. I'm going to ask you something because I read more. The working with your cycle I think is fascinating, and I actually got a book for my daughter-in-law about now there's so much information on how you should work out according to your cycle, how you should eat according to your cycle, really living according to your cycle. Kara, do you know much about this? Is this anything within your realm?
I don't know a ton about it, but I talk about it a lot. Just for the simple fact of, again, you're talking about the high cortisol and how that's going to affect your fertility. Like just having your diet affects your fertility and your cycle. What scents we have in our house, I talk to my clients about that. Like, the hormone disruptors, the soaps, the laundry detergents, um, that sort of thing, and how that's affecting our hormone cycle and higher cortisol. But I'm I haven't breached the fertility hormone cycle side of it just yet.
Yeah. And I think I don't know, maybe I'm out of it, but this is all information I've been seeing recently. So I think it's kind of more of a recent thing that's coming up. But let's jump over and talk a little bit about inflammation. Um, let's see. Joe said tendonitis in the heel. Anybody use anything or have any success with that?
Trick for me.
Salina has a story.
I was wondering if it was more like plantar fasciitis instead of, that was me. I think we talked about this on another class because I remember talking about the shoes. Is that what you, I was kind of curious about the tendonitis. Or wait, we're talking about, wait, which question are you asking? I'm
I
sorry.
had just asked about the tendonitis. That was Joe.
Ears.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
So it's kind of hard to tell because I obviously haven't gone to the doctor over it. It's possible that it's the plantar fasciitis, but it's not like my whole foot. It is my actual heel and even the back of my heel. So I've gone anything from Achilles heel to tendonitis, but I'm not real sure, but it really hurts.
I want to jump in and say something about this because I just had a heel issue about 2 weeks ago and I Googled it and what came up was plantar fasciitis, bursitis, that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, whatever. So what I did was I used my oils regularly. Aroma Touch is my go-to. Aroma Touch, frankincense. I was very consistent. And then I used my red light and I started stretching. Just Googled some stretches and I was very, very intentional about stretching and even doing hamstring stretches. And within 3 days it was gone. And I fully believe that's one of those things that like if I hadn't done those things and I went to the doctor, I would have gotten a diagnosis. I would meds, all the things, but I really think a lot of it was the oils and the stretching. So,
Okay.
And mine was my shoes. I can just point out that I was training in the best, they said, CrossFit shoes. Everyone, all the athletes, this is the shoe to get, the ones that have the extra support and all this stuff. And really the way God designed our feet is to be barefoot. And so as you're using this extra cushion underneath and arch support and all that, it's kind of like weakening and you're almost like atrophy of those places and those muscles. So I learned to do barefoot a lot more, but there's transitions to barefoot. And one of my favorite shoes that I use now is the Ultra, ALTRA, and that's my new love of finding those. And because they are 0 drop and they have cushion, so you are able to transition to, because you're in pain, so you do need some cushion, but you do not need the arch support. You need a 0 drop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll look into that. I mean, I like barefoot and I have real cushiony flip-flops and sneakers. It could be that I just need a new pair.
And
I
I had tried
Could be
multiple
that you're low on
types.
progesterone.
What were you going to say, Sandra?
So it could be that you're low on progesterone. All that tendonitis stuff, man.
Okay. Well, I do know that my hormones I've had a real hard time balancing them. So maybe. So what do I do about it?
I think, well, that would be, the hormones would be a whole nother question. But with your foot, I am with Salina. I do like the 0 drop shoes. I'm a big fan of those.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, so I'm definitely gonna look into that.
Yeah, you can Google it. That's just, I don't know. But then I would highly recommend stretching, highly recommend, using some of the oils. And I love my red light. And the other thing is one time when I had a major foot issue, I got a deep tissue massage. And she's like, it's not your foot. She goes, my hamstrings were too tight. I mean, there's very few things that a deep tissue massage won't help.
Okay.
Okay, gonna pop over here. Lynn says, I have a question about Bioma, and I'm thinking this is a specific supplement, but I want to get rid of cortisol. So we're going back over here to Jody too. I want to get rid of my cortisol, and this has been popping up in ads lately. I'm 74 and have a lot of weight in my belly, but nowhere else. Who wants to take that?
I'll pop in. What is your light environment like? Do you get morning sunlight? Are you getting on screens first thing in the morning? Are you on screens
No,
late?
I don't get on screens in the morning at all. I do go out with the dog. I'm not out there real long. I don't stay out there in the sun I've had skin cancer on my face. So they tell me not to do that, like not to lay out or things like that. So I don't, but I'm in and out all day.
Okay. And what is your blue light at night like?
But normally in the evening, I'm mostly on my laptop or my iPad because that's when I have time to sit down and do that. Not so much during the day at all.
Okay. I would suggest you get up and do morning light before any screens. At sunrise, you get a lot of red light. Skin cancer is caused not by all the skin cancer studies on UV light has been done in the absence of full spectrum light. So red light is actually very healing to the skin and helps to prepare your skin for the rest of the day to receive UV light. You can always wear like a floppy hat or something like that. At night, after the sun goes down, I would suggest that you buy blue light blockers and protect your eyes at night from the extra blue light, because the blue light is actually a signal to your body that it's noon and your cortisol should be higher when it's at noon. So in order to decrease your cortisol, then you want to block it at night. The morning sunlight actually helps to increase your serotonin, which sets you up for better melatonin production so you can sleep better. So that's
Okay.
where I would start. And there is a product called Cort Ease, CORT-EAZE. However, I don't suggest that people go on cortisol detoxes as they put it out there right now online, unless you actually know what your cortisol levels are, because you can be living in a state of sympathetic that's your normal, but your cortisol can still be low.
Yeah, cortisol is like a necessary hormone. You need it. You don't want it low. You don't want it high. You kind of want it in between. And if your adrenals are a little off and you feel like you're cortisol dominant, then what you actually probably the simplest thing you can do is take a significant amount of vitamin C. This is the simplest thing. I mean, there's a bunch of other things, but that's a really nice, easy. I mean, we're talking about 2,000 milligrams a day at minimum. So it's an easy way to support your cortisol.
Oh, I'll try that. I like the natural.
Okay. Any more?
I put some blue light blockers in the list for you guys, the ones that I tell all my
wrote it
clients to
down.
use. Okay. Just click on it. You can use it, whatever.
Okay, next question. Someone asked, what are your thoughts on collagen powder added to drinks? Collagen powder.
That was also in reference to someone asking about how to get more protein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Yes. So that would be a great source going back to the getting more protein. Yeah, the collagen powder. Okay.
Oh, the collagen has protein?
Collagen powder does, Diane. So there's some, like, you can buy a collagen powder that you can mix into drinks, and a lot of it's about 20 grams of protein.
I take the little pack.
That is very different, and that's not going to have, that's not going to be a really high protein source of collagen.
I'm trying to lose my breath.
Well, I don't know what to tell you about that.
You can put the protein, the doTERRA protein powder, that can go in your bread. Don't put the collagen in your bread. That's gonna just dissolve it and destroy it.
Yeah, you can use
if that's what you're saying.
The powder. Okay, let's see. Okay, really good question. And you know what, Kara, I'm going to let you take this one first. My question would be, or maybe, I don't know, I shouldn't assume that you can take this one first, but it's a child thing. What are your top 5 or so things to do when your toddler is under the weather? Cold symptoms.
Oh,
Get to name 5 things.
5 things. Definitely let their fever run out and don't try to kill the fever. I mean, obviously be safe about it, but lots and lots of rest. And staying warm and eating warm foods is a lot, like bone broths. Obviously On Guard goes on feet, goes on throats. And those are usually, but dilute on a toddler, definitely diluted, and having it in a diffuser is what I would do. Those are, I don't know if that was 5. Those
That,
are my
that
go-to.
was 4. That was 4.
Or,
Can I add the 5th one?
um,
I would say hydration.
yes, hydration. Sorry. Not just water, but actual hydration, because a lot of people are like just down the water, but it's got to have everything in it in order to replenish ourselves too.
The electrolytes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Emily and I have gotten a little under the weather.
That was me last week. It's rough. It was a rough one. Anybody else? Any other mamas want to throw in a tip or two for that? Jerusha?
Hi. I don't know if most of you have ever seen me. I have 6 children. My youngest is 19. My husband's he was in the Marine Corps for 26 years. So most of the young age of my kids I did by myself. I will say, I will agree with what I've heard so far. You can give your kids your electrolytes through homemade bone broth as long as you're making it properly, low and slow simmer, usually about 24 hours. I always had it in my house. I put it in everything I made for them, whether it was a smoothie, whether I cooked the rice or made a sauce. My bone broth was the bottom, the first layer of my sauce. Vitamin C, somebody else put in, I saw it pop up in the chat, keep their vitamin C high. It helps with all of the mucous membrane and keeping everything flushing. But yeah, that's one of the best ways to get them their hydration. You're going to be hard pressed to get a sick kid to just, here, drink this. More often they're going to want bone broth, and you can load it with garlic, which is another helper there. We've put garlic on the bottom of their feet. I think Andy just put in sunshine. Definitely take them out in the sun as much as possible. And I know there's a doctor on here, but when my kids were sick, I usually kept them very far away from the doctor because we had Naval Hospital medicine.
PhD, I don't care. I agree. I don't take my kids to the doctor.
Yeah, I found very few doctors like you that were interested in any type of natural remedy. We had one wonderful pediatrician who was into natural stuff, and he was in South Florida, Dr. Ridland, and he actually started creating his own concoctions. I don't remember what they're called, but like if you have a liquid that's derived from herbs and it's in a dropper. Words. I don't have words today.
Tinctures. Herbal tinctures.
Yes, tinctures. Thank you. Yeah. He made his whole line of tinctures, and some of them were fabulous. One of the best ear infection remedies when my kids were swimming was his tincture, which was olive oil based. And then he just distilled herbs and put it in there, had thyme and marjoram. And I'd never even heard of essential oils at that time, but that was probably the thing that allowed me to go towards essential oils, is because I already had that as a foundation of knowledge there. So anything that he put in any of his tinctures for healing infection or anything, I put in my kids' bone broth. Sorry.
So is this a good place to introduce terrain theory? Do you guys know what that is? Have you ever heard that? Anybody? Raise your hand if you heard terrain theory. Okay, good. Thank you. So if you think of everything in terrain theory, when you think of somebody sick, you have to think, okay, well, we have some disruption in the terrain, probably some kind of toxic event. Okay, biological toxin, maybe mold toxin, maybe pesticide induction, like exposure to pesticide, exposure to medicine. Something like that. Something that is a toxin to the body that the body then responds, and then the bacteria responds by cleaning up that toxin. That's what terrain theory teaches, that a toxin is introduced, the bacteria respond. The bacteria are not the problem, the bacteria are responding to a toxin. So if you keep that in mind, then you go, okay, well, obviously it's not good. The bacteria are now causing a problem because there's so many of them. Now they're pooping, right? They're causing more endotoxin. So that's a problem too. So we don't want like a ton of bug poop floating around plus the toxin they're trying to eat. So we have to hit this from a lot of angles. The herbals, they'll provide a lot of immune support. The vitamin C provides a lot of immune support. The sunshine is like a whole topic on its own because it's so tremendously powerful. Like your sun activates the photonic energy, activates both hormones, and it activates the metabolism of your vitamins on a cellular level. It's a very complex situation. So sunlight is like the best thing for real. But the other thing you have to take in consideration is that you're feeling bad because there's all this extra bug poop. Okay, like ammonia that's being pooped out by the bacteria. So I actually add in things like charcoal if we're sick. We'll do a charcoal at the end of the day, and we'll oil, and we'll take vitamin C, and we'll do sunlight, and we'll do all the everything from every angle because I'm taking into consideration, I'm rethinking it. That's why my podcast is called Rethink It. Like, okay, the problem is not the bacteria. The bacteria is cleaning up the problem. Does that make sense? So you got to kind of support, and then probiotics and the enzymes, bump those things up because they're helping. Okay, that's my 2 cents.
Mm.
Interesting. I was going to go there and ask a detailed question, but we'll save that for another time. Okay, so Andy, you have a question, and I'm going to let you just go ahead and unmute and ask.
Okay, I put in the chat, but for those who didn't see it, so I heard today from a type 2 diabetic that her endocrinologist said, no coconut oil. Whatever you hear about it saying that it's good for you, it's not. It's a big fat lie. And I'm like, everything that I've heard lately, because I know it used to be really taboo, everything I've heard lately, coconut oil is so good for us. So where does our insulin coach stand on that?
And this person was told that it raises their blood sugar?
She told me that it raised her blood sugar, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it could have been a
Anybody
different
else
focus.
want to address that? Anybody else want to take that?
You're the insulin coach.
No, I do not believe that at all. I would really have to see some research on that. Number one, it's like you should really always question your the things they say are not just they're just not always true. And I think you have to use some level of common sense. I will say everybody's different. But coconut oil is full of lauric acid. It's brain food, right, Dr. Sandy? And to think and then even, and this is something Salina can even address, a lot of keto coaches, keto doctors, they even talk about, if you really get hungry while you're doing a fast, put coconut oil in your coffee, do the bulletproof coffee, that because it doesn't impact your blood sugar. So I'm saying that's just misinformation.
I'm calling BS.
Me too.
Yeah.
What else was going on when she took the coconut oil? Emotionally, was
That's
she?
what I was going to ask. Yeah, if something else raised it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be interesting to know.
It's very, very interesting because I will say I have a friend who is she wears a CGM. She's in her 70s and her blood sugar is amazing, like legit in the 70s. She's a powerhouse. But when she found out her grandson was sick, her blood sugar spiked, and it stayed elevated until they found out, they got the results back that it was not like a terminal issue, and then her blood sugar went back down to normal. It is amazing
That's a real thing.
it is. It's amazing how the body responds to stress.
Yeah. Well, even my husband's a type 1 diabetic, and when he's sick and his body's fighting something, his blood sugar goes up. And I think that's the body's preservation method to make sure that he has the fuel to fight what's going on. And yeah, so he just rides it out. He's not freaked out about it. So that's interesting.
And I believe that's common for a lot of people.
There's also a huge impact on electrolytes. So this is a really odd thing. I kind of I was trying to troubleshoot a client and had some weird sugar stuff. And in medicine, like this is me thinking medically going, how does this apply here? So when your potassium is high, one of the things we do in medicine is we give a ton of insulin to drive in the potassium, and then we give you glucose to make sure you don't bottom out. But it's like a critical care thing. So potassium can kill you. Too much potassium makes your heart stop. So we know if somebody's like way off, we're gonna give you insulin and drive it out. And the thing that I started to ask on this particular person who was doing a ton of sauna, and drinking distilled water, which I'm a big fan of, but their electrolyte balance may have been subclinically low, especially in the potassium realm. Think of it this way: the potassium's high when insulin drives it in. What happens if potassium's low? Insulin comes out. So if there's a reverse relationship with these in the cell, insulin goes up, and then you get insulin resistance, and then the sugar starts to climb because there's the secondary effects of insulin resistance. And I supported their potassium. I just gave them potassium, and that started to stabilize the sugar. So that can be another element. Like, is their electrolyte way off? Like subclinically, not where you're like going to the hospital and they're like, oh gosh, your potassium so low, you're about to have cardiac something, like it can be subclinical and cause this insulin resistance. I mean, electrolytes are a big deal.
Big deal. Okay. I've got a question. I'll just toss it in here. And if anybody wants to jump in and add more to this, feel free to. Suggestions or resources that work for perimenopause issues. This text, I don't really get hot flashes. It's more of like brain fog, that sort of thing. And yeah. Thoughts on that, or just perimenopause in general. Interestingly enough, I had 2 people message me today, perimenopause, perimenopause. So,
Perimenopause. You know why it's so much fun? It's because your estrogen doesn't just decline like a nice steady flow. It declines like this. So you're up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down till it's gone. And the hormone to decline at about 35, that's why I'm sure Kara can jump in here and say this with authority, but at 35 and older, we start worrying about pregnancy, right? Well, because progesterone actually declines in women around that age. And so we need healthy progesterone, A, to maintain a pregnancy, B, for the baby's IQ to be nice and strong. Like high levels of progesterone actually impacts the neurodevelopment of a baby. So like good high levels of progesterone. And that starts to decline at 35. That's the first one to go down. And it's supposed to be in a ratio above estrogen to keep you in a nice, not feeling crazy, calm state. The problem is we hit 40 and now our progesterone is really low, and now our estrogen is doing swing up, swing down, swing up. So we're high as a kite in the life of the party, and then we are depressed and wanting to cry and rip our husband's hair out, right? Like up, down in one day. Like that's perimenopause. So the problem is usually in that state, I think that you have to support your progesterone levels first, because estrogen can be so high that if you start giving estrogen support, you can actually make people more crazy because too much estrogen. That you will not poop, you will not sleep. It's bad.
What do you think about the like the natural yam creams and things like that? No?
Oh, those have been debunked big time. And the problem is they rely on enzymes that we don't make. And so people swear by it. I think that works as a placebo effect. There's no biological explanation for why yam would work. We don't make our bioidentical hormones from yam. We make it from other things. So no, yam is not supportive enough. I know that's a nice thing that people put out on Instagram and stuff.
It's all over the place.
I find no success with that. I've had plenty of people come through my practice with that. I'm like, no. They're like, why doesn't it work? I'm like, because it doesn't work. It's not, it looks somewhat structurally similar, but we don't have the enzymes to utilize it to make it work for us to look like progesterone. So that's kind of the short answer. That makes sense. Question.
Chime in on perimenopause.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The doctor that I went to, just because I hadn't been to a doctor in like 10 years, and I'm one of the people who asked about that, just about the information that's out there is like
almost none. I can't find, at least on the doctor side of things, or just like basic searches on the web. I did look up that book that you just mentioned about fasting like a girl, so we'll be reading that. Just I'm not having anything that I would consider a symptom except within my bleeding cycle. And the girlfriends that I've had, all of their moms got on progesterone. And, I've heard that is something that causes your body to develop cancer. Cancer runs in my family. My grandmother died on my father's side of cancer. My father died last year of cancer. So, what are the things to watch out for, and what am I supposed to do to make sure I've got a progesterone balance? My doctor told me that unless I was willing to go on any type of hormone, she suggested she wasn't even going to test my hormones. So
we have to make a very big distinction here between HRT, which is synthetic hormone replacement, and bioidentical hormones. Two different categories, two different rules we're playing by. Progestins, the synthetics, those play in a different ball game than everything. I wouldn't put anybody on progestin. That potentially could be linked to cancer in some of the research. Progesterone as a bioidentical hormone it's magic. It is not a cancer causing. Progesterone is your parasympathetic hormone. So it's your rest and digest hormone. That's why when you turn 40, you feel crazy because all that's going away and estrogen's dominant. Now you're basically estrogen dominant in perimenopause, which makes you gain weight, get belly fat, make you have brain fog, make you feel all kinds of emotional, makes you not poop, makes you not detox, makes you all the things that sympathetic dominance does. So progesterone support on a bioidentical level is very different than progestins and is actually protective against cancer. I typically give that very early in people's treatment when I see them, but there are, you can support you gotta think about the hormone and the receptor. So you got the hormone deficiency, but then also have receptor dysfunction that starts to happen. And those are really dependent on things like zinc and your minerals. Ashwagandha can help sort of stabilize the connection between the hormone and the receptor. And so that's a nice adaptogen that you can take. Maca powder is another one that's kind of helpful. But I'm a big fan of getting people on bioidentical progesterone early. That's just me. But you do have to see a practitioner who's willing to do that. You can't.
That would be something that, as far as support goes, I mean, I take zinc. I have ashwagandha in my house, and I do take maca, but not consistently. But that's something that just on the, I try to stay as natural as possible. In general, that's something that I would want to go on the medical side for.
It's really hard to, the bioidentical world it's really hard to navigate because I find that the OBGYN world are either kind of like, okay, yeah, because of Sarah Gottfried, she did a little bit of talk about that. She did a book about it and everything. This is an old one, so it's not updated information, but she's an OBGYN trained at Harvard. So she talked about a little bit of more of an acceptance in the OBGYN world because of that. But then you got the integrative people who are about making a lot of money, and they open bioidentical hormone clinics, and they kind of just like run it like a factory and they don't really do a good job. It's very lucrative to run a bioidentical hormone clinic. So a lot of people want to lose weight, balance their hormones. They're all, so it's a big thing. So it's kind of hard to navigate in a place with trying to find. I wish I had better answers for you, like how to find somebody. I'm always looking to refer people closer. I mean, I see people, but like closer to their home or something where they can see an OBGYN that's covered by insurance, that kind of stuff. Like it's hard for me. So I don't have very good answers for you on that, but you need to see somebody's integrative who can give you, who's open to bioidentical hormones.
I think we need to do a whole workshop on this because it's such, like, all the nods, because it's such a popular topic. So maybe this is one that we can schedule and kind of do a little bit more of a deep dive on. And even over in the chat, Andy said, I want to know why the only symptoms I've had are hot flashes and weight gain, no mood stuff or brain stuff. And me, I haven't had anything.
Progesterone makes you have hot flashes.
Okay, so
Low progesterone.
Low progesterone. Okay.
It also depends on how you're metabolizing your estrogens, whether your estrogens are going down, like the 2-OH, if it's going down the 4-OH or the 16-OH, that is where your cancers come from and a lot of your other symptomatic issues that are coming in. Also look at the xenoestrogens that are in your lifestyle and the rest of your train, your heavy metals and the viruses, Lyme, all that other kind of stuff that might also be burdening your body.
100%. And did you say brain fog? So brain fog is an estrogen symptom. So low estrogen is brain fog. I mean, I like having your estrogen back into level after you've had brain fog for a while. You're like, oh, I could be creative again. Oh, look at me. I have energy. Yeah, it's amazing. There's a reason 66% of the people with dementia are women. 66%, 2/3 of the dementia patients right now are women, is because our estrogen decline has a direct link on the volume of our neurons in our brain, and it shrinks as hormones decline. HRT has made a comeback, the synthetic HRT. I know plenty of my colleagues that I work with that are on synthetic HRT because that is known research now. Like it's known. We know that women are at higher risk because lower estrogen means your brain declines. It's a big thing. So, that's not my preferred choice. I don't do HRT. I do bioidentical hormones, but that's all I gotta say. I don't know, did I add anything to that?
Last question.
Recommend is like a one-stop shop for all of this. I mean, there's so many. Is it an integrative medicine doctor that would really be the best? I mean, because everybody's talked about, well, yeah, if you do this, yeah, but then you got to do that. And if and I believe it all. I really do. I think there are like, I think it was Sherrie was talking about the toxins, the heavy metals, all those things. And like even with losing weight, I just read that if you lose weight and you don't get your body healthy. So I've been reading Get Healthy to Lose Weight when doctors tell you lose weight to get healthy. And if you don't do that, then you're releasing toxins into your body too. So it's like, holy crap, you think you're doing something good. So yeah, who would be the type of doctor that would be most helpful?
Can I share a really quick, share my screen really quick? I have a great visual for this that I literally just used at an appointment with somebody. This is really great visual. You good with that? Can I share it? Stephanie, can I share?
Lucia, that is right that I don't think most integrative docs take insurance because I've checked 5 or 6 of them and they don't.
Some do, but it's hard to find. It's hard to find.
Yeah.
The ones that are going to tell you the truth and go against what so this is okay, as a medical PA, right? My virtual practice is very distinct and separate, and I cannot at all engage in any kind of insurance anything, because if I do, then I have to follow the medical guidelines and verbal directions of what the medical board says I can say. And so I can't do that if I want to tell you the truth. If I want to tell you autism is reversible, I can't do that. But yeah, so it's hard. I tend to find the ones that take insurance are just basically, okay, let me give you a story. When I graduated from anesthesia school, this was 2010. I was still a PA, certified PA, and I got this, they send you CME conferences to go to all the time because I have 100 CMEs I got to do every year. So I got this CME conference thing in the mail in 2010 that said, become functional medicine certified in this week for a weekend trip. Orlando or something. Like I was like, functional medicine, what the heck? What is that? In a weekend, okay. a weekend certification in functional medicine. I have been doing this for a long time and I still don't know everything, right? So like that's a lot of times what some of these doctors will do is they'll go and get a certification at a CME conference and they'll say they're functional medicine because everybody wants a functional medicine doctor. Okay. But they still, all they do is they swap their tools. They go, okay, I was giving metoprolol for high blood pressure. Now I'm just going to give an herbal this. And I'm not planning in the direction of like, am I going to get this person off of this? And eventually, am I looking at the root cause to get them in recovery off of the medication, off the herbals? Because quite frankly, swapping your drug that's covered by insurance for an herbal that isn't is just costing the patient more for the rest of their life, right? So when you have that mindset of a medical doctor with a different set of tools, it doesn't help. It doesn't get to the root
Pisses me off. Excuse my French, but
that's the problem in
but I
functional
hear it.
medicine. It's just our world is broken. It's sinful, and all the systems are affected by sin the same way. You know,
Amen.
that's
So
the
true.
hard part.
I have a question.
What's your question, Diane?
For the last 15, 20 years, I've been going through hot flashes, and now I'm getting cold. So how long could do that part?
Okay, 15 years of hot flashes, and now she's getting cold. Anybody want to?
Have you had your thyroid checked?
Huh?
Have you had your thyroid checked?
No.
I would do a full thyroid panel.
Okay.
So you might want to have your thyroid checked, Diane. That would be a good thing.
I'm going to share the screen really quick, the one I wanted to show you. I promise I won't take over this meeting. I just want you guys to see this because it's really helpful. Oops, I lost my ears. This is a great picture. I love this picture. Okay. This, I mean, there's a little bit of words in there that are like, whoa, too much. But think of this toxicity leads to LPS is lipopolysaccharides released from your gut that are major endotoxin, major. So they just make more toxins. That leads to immune dysregulation. And these are just branches of your immune system, Th1, Th2. When these become out of balance, they're supposed to be like a scale, nice balance. And if they're out of balance, you have elevated Th2, you get food sensitivities, you got food allergies. If you're low Th1, you get sick all the time. And so then that continues and causes chronic inflammation, which leads to downregulation of glutathione, believe it or not. And that means you become more toxic and the cycle goes round and round and round. But the problem is that you also get this vascular permeability, which just means your blood vessels get leaky. And when they do that, then we get this downstream. This is when all of a sudden all the bad things that has started everything, toxicity, immune dysregulation, leads to disease. That's what causes it. This is the round and round picture of what we deal with. Why you're trying to deal with the natural things that are root cause. You're trying to stop all of this. Does that help anybody?
Very interesting. And I would love to see we're gonna deep dive this, and it's gonna be really good. Last question, and this is gonna be a quick one, almost like a round robin. But I had someone message one of the questions that they wanted to address tonight. She's like, I want to lose weight. What is the best doTERRA product to use? And I'm going to start with my response, and that is it's not a doTERRA product because there is no magic pill to weight loss. So if I had to tell somebody one thing to do to lose weight, I would say balance your blood sugar. And now I'm going to let the rest of y'all just something quick. How do you lose weight?
Is there any oil you can put on to help that?
No, you can glue your lips together. But you can't, there's not an oil that's going to help with that. I will say, if I had to recommend one thing, it would probably be the gum, because I think chewing gum does help you not eat other things. But ladies, weight loss, because this is what everybody wants, weight loss.
Daily habits.
Sherrie, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Daily habits. Sunlight, sleep, hydration.
Yep. The free stuff. the free stuff.
I'm not saying this is because I'm an anesthesia provider, but sleep. Okay, like sleep, seriously. Sleep, good quality sleep is like your fastest way to reduce inflammation, and reduced inflammation means less of that cycle I just showed you, which means you gain weight. So sleep, I had to learn sleep instead of getting up to do my boot camp. Like I was like, fine. Okay, I'll work out some other time, I guess. I had to like do a month reset to retrain myself that working out harder is actually worse when you're 40 and plus. So you're actually going to gain weight from that. It's going to be counterproductive. You're going to boost your cortisol, and that's bad. So like you actually have to retrain your body on what priorities to take, and I would take sleep over even exercise, that's a big thing for me to say because I think exercise is a big thing.
Sleep. Okay, Kara, what about you?
For me, a big one, because I have to do things like build up, right? I know if I am outside for an hour every morning, then I'm likely to stretch. I do like, I don't know how accurate it is and how perfected it is, but I do my own lymphatic massage and drainage. Um, and then I stretch and then I kind of bounce it out. And when I do those things, I feel better. I have more energy. I feel like I burn more. I don't eat as much. So for me, if I'm out every morning getting that first sunlight, getting that first grounding, and that little bit of like, I don't do the full body every day because it kind of is more time consuming, but I at least do the hard hitters of, the face and here, and then like my groin. The days that I feel like I have more energy and more time, then I like go all like my whole arms and my hands and down to my like do all of it. But because if you're all clogged up, you're gonna be puffy, but you're also gonna feel cruddy. So for me, that this winter we bought like a vibrational plate, and that's been a huge, huge game changer for my husband and I, and having energy and all of that. So I'm a huge lymphatic drainage, makes everything feel better.
Love that. We don't talk about that enough, I think. That's really good. Good tip. What about you, Salina? One thing, lose weight.
Consistency. Just be consistent. Just small habits add up. And it's just after all, because we can't just do it once a week. We just got to be consistent.
Yep. Okay. It's been a little bit over an hour. This was beautiful, ladies. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I have so many more questions that I could ask and keep everybody on for another hour, but we're not going to do that. But I tell you what, we're going to do this again because it was great. So if you were here, yes, Lynn, we need more. So what we'll do again, you'll get the replay tomorrow along with links like everybody's Instagram, Facebook, website links, that kind of thing if you want to contact. And next, not let's see, Tuesday the 19th, we have a class on nutritional deficiencies. You'll get information about that as well. Yeah, just check your email. And again, we're going to do this again. I would love to kind of do this panel quarterly. I think it's really, really good. And if you have any suggestions about things you want to know more about, just reach out and let us know. Those of you who are here, Kara, Sandy, Sherrie, Salina, y'all absolutely rock. I love women. I prefer women over men. I mean, I love my husband, but women are great. So
I love you.
I love you too, Diane. So y'all have an awesome night, and we will.
Thanks, ladies.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.